Welcome to Vibrant Numerals. Today we're going to talk about the new moon in Taurus and its relation to the numerology of the number 26, thanks to my favorite astrologist, Stormy Grace. I'm Elizabeth, and I help spiritual practitioners and number enthusiasts apply numerology to their practice and to their daily life. Before we get started, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell so that you can get informed of when my next video comes out. So earlier today, I was watching this video by Stormy Grace on the Taurus new moon that's coming up next week on April 27th. And what Stormy pointed out is that as she was talking about this lunation cycle, that there was this number 26 that was popping out a lot. And this is the first step in being able to apply numerology into your practice and into your daily life, is just noticing the numbers, just noticing when there's an interesting pattern, noticing when numbers are jumping out at you more than usual. And usually what I say to people is to make sure that you note what you were doing, how you were feeling, what was going on around you or through your mind when these numbers pop out. And that's actually going to give you more context for the messages that are coming through. So in Stormy's video, she spoke a lot about what was happening with this new moon that we have April 27th, and then the lunar cycle that is coming up in relation to that. And that's where a lot of the 26s were coming up, where it was 26 for the date for 3 of the 4 moons in that lunation cycle. And then 2 of the 4 moons in that lunation cycle were in year 2026. And so that's where the 26 was coming from. And so when we start looking at 26, we see that it's these 2 vibrations that are working together. It's the 6 and then it's the 2. And the 6 is really about what's your comfort zones? What are the comfort zones that you need to really sit in and feel strong in to be able to progress forward? And what are the comfort zones that you really shouldn't have? What are things that you are comfortable with that you really shouldn't be comfortable with? And how do you examine that in full honesty and be able to break it up for yourself, for your own self-betterment? And then once you're able to do that, once you're able to really look at those comfort zones very clearly and see them for what they are, then you realize that you have this 2 energy, where this 2 energy is the ending of dualism. So while you're sitting in this comfort zone, and looking at your comfort zones, you could see that your comfort zones are like at these 2 extremes. They're the ones that are really good for you, that are really helping you out, that are really helping you move forward. And then there's these that you really got to get rid of because they're really causing chaos in your life. And when you realize that you are able to kind of work with both of those, where either it's get rid of those bad ones and really pump up those good ones, or figuring out a way how to blend them so that it's actually a more stable comfort zone. Because even those comfort zones that are really good, they can become toxic if it's like we're putting ourselves in a barrier. And so you could also be blending these comfort zones to be able to get this 2. And then when that 2 and that 6 come together, then that's when we get an 8. So now we get this infinitely cycling energy. And what was so interesting is that this 26 energy was really coming out when we were talking about, or Stormy was talking about, this lunation cycle. And so the lunation cycle is an 8. Karmic energy is an 8. vibration. So it's any of these vibrations that come back around. These can also be any of your habits. It can be any of the experiences that you are repeating over and over again in a cycle to try and learn a particular lesson. So this 26 is really telling you to be able to really utilize that vibration of 8, where it's this infinitely cycling energy, to use it to your greatest good. These 2 steps you have to take. You need to examine your comfort zones in this 6, and then you need to understand where you have extremes around and amongst those comfort zones, or if the extremes are creating those comfort zones, and figure out how to be able to get rid of those extremes by either bringing them together or getting rid of some on either side. Not balancing between them, but actually bringing them together for that 2. So then you will be able to fully utilize this 8 energy. The other thing that's interesting is that this number 26 is the numerical vibration of the word God. And whenever this word God comes up, it has a different kind of emotional impact to different people. And I know for myself, and I've seen it multiple times, that when people talk about God or a higher entity or a higher spirit or the universe, they feel it in their chest. But God invokes those same vibrations of 26, where it's asking you to look at your comfort zones. If you believe in a higher power in whatever form best works for you, what are the comfort zones that you have around that higher power? What are the extremes that you have around that higher power? And can you actually bring it together so that you have this beautiful cycling energy around this higher power, and that you are able to really work with whoever God is for you? So that was very interesting as well. And then thinking about where that 26 sits in the body, it was really resonating with this Venus conjunct Saturn energy, where I a lot of times feel Venus in my chest very much so, and I feel Saturn in my chest when it's a lesson, a maturity, a responsibility that I'm not wanting to face, or I'm having a very hard time facing, because I find that I have to face it first emotionally before I'm able to actually do the work. But again, very interesting, this phrase of Venus conjunct Saturn, which is happening twice here in April, and it happened in January. And then so we had it when Venus was direct. It hit Saturn and had a conjunction. When it went retrograde in February, by early April, it was conjunct with Saturn again. And it just recently went direct. And so now it's going forward, and it will once again, actually this same week as this new moon, will be conjunct with Saturn again. But this phrase is 260. So now we have this 26, but with this 0 on the end, where the 0 is the only vibration. It's the only energy. It is the God vibration. It's the only energy from God, from the universe, that we can't control. It's divine energy. It comes in and it can enhance or diminish any of these vibrations that it wants to. And in this case, it's enhancing this 26. So this divine energy is coming in, it's enhancing the 26. This is also not just how many 26s there were on the page, but this is also probably a vibration that was resonating to make that 26 pop out and feel like it was really important to bring into the mix. And I think also that 8, because it's very interesting that it's the 26 when that 8 is the representation of that lunation cycle. So make sure to go and check out Stormy's video on new moon in Taurus. I have one little more bit for you, but hopefully this will help bring even more illumination and information to that reading. So this little bit that isn't necessarily about 26, but is about the new moon in Taurus that I wanted to include, is that in Stormy's video, she says Taurus new moon, and that phrase adds up to 199. And that 199, that numerical vibration, is the same as the vibration of personal ascension. Also, towards ascension or honoring ascension are all resonating at the vibration of 199. So I wanted to bring that up because if you switch it around and you say the new moon in Taurus, now that's resonating at 222. And 222 is the numerical vibration of the phrase the opportunity. And so just by switching those words around or switching around how you say that phrase, you're either bringing in this vibration of personal ascension, or you're really tapping into this vibration of the opportunity. And you should check out, I have another video that's on 222 specifically. Thanks for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Make sure that you check out Stormy Grace's original astrology video, and hopefully this adds to what you're able to get from that. Make sure you click below and you get my numerology calculations guide. And like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and give me some comments about how else you would like to apply numerology and how I can help you do it. Bye!